going to start with a bit of a story. And it's to do with comfort. So about 2 years ago, right at the start of the kind of COVID pandemic, I was working in a gym at David Lloyd as a fitness trainer. And it was really, really comfortable. I had a pretty nice routine. It was mega cushy. I'd turn up in the morning, albeit a little bit early. I'd have my coffee, nice flat white, from the cafe, wander upstairs, meet some people, everyone that I knew. It was an environment I really enjoyed being in, very comfortable in. All the people that worked there I knew well, we were good friends, my clients I got on really well with. It was a really nice sort of setup, very comfortable. And then COVID hit. My wife at the time was due to give birth in about sort of 2 weeks. My income pretty much disappeared like that, gone. I had a new mortgage, my wife was just going on to statutory maternity pay. And I went from this really nice, comfortable spot to a fairly uncomfortable one, to be honest. However, that discomfort there has put me on the path to getting to where I am now. And if that hadn't come along and given me a bit of a kick up the arse, essentially, to put me out of that comfort zone, made me embrace that little bit of discomfort and things that I was not used to doing, I wouldn't have sort of got to where I am now. We'll come on to a bit more of that and we'll sort of elaborate on that as we go through. But I've definitely been on a bit of a journey. So this was me as a young 20, 21-year-old in Sangin, Helmand Province, 2010. Absolutely loved life, to be honest. I loved that experience. I thought it was brilliant. I had a really good time. Went through 32 weeks of commando training at Livingston, which is renowned as the hardest basic military training in the world. Definitely put me in a really good place to understand what people are capable of achieving. Nearly every single person that rocked up at Commando Training Centre or Marines was just a normal person. They weren't special. They were just a normal person, but they did have an extraordinary goal, something that they really were passionate about working towards. Through my time there, and through my experiences in the Marines and the places I went and things I did, I got used to challenge, I got used to discomfort, and I got used to a bit of hardship, and that was very much part of my daily routine. And I'm sure you'll agree, probably that first picture doesn't look sort of mega comfortable. It was dusty, it was hot, sort of 50 degrees, body armor, a helmet, we sort of rationed water. And I think at one point we had the option, you can have more ammo or you can have more water. We went for ammo because that's the situation we were in. That's just to give a sort of bit of a flavour of what was going on there in the bigger picture. I then went down to this middle picture here, a nice air-conditioned gym where I could saunter in, have a good time, have a chat with people, like I said, drink my coffee. There wasn't any real challenge or hardship there. I got very comfortable and I completely stopped progressing. That rug got ripped out from underneath me when COVID came, and it forced me back into having to really adapt and overcome. And this is sort of where I am now, a bit of a family man with a woofer. And what I do now is I look and create hardship for myself through various ways, mainly through physical exercise and challenging myself with ambitious goals. So that's where I am now. I'm running Commando Conditioned Fitness, which is an online sort of fitness and holistic approach to improving and progressing yourself. It's part of that because with the whole adult learning theme, I guess, I do believe in constantly improving and progressing yourself. I'm just completing a degree in physiotherapy at Bournemouth Uni, which I've got about 8 weeks to push, and although I have enjoyed it, I cannot wait for it to be finished. So, mindset. I mean, what does mindset mean to everyone when someone says your mindset, what do you initially think about?
I think it's just sort of state of mind. What you're in at the time, maybe.
State of mind, yeah.
Well-being.
Well-being, awesome.
The way you perceive things.
The way you perceive things, yeah, cool.
I was going to say, choose your approach.
Choose your approach, yeah, brilliant. So we can definitely choose to look at things in several ways, and there's some ways which will end up being more beneficial. It's how we're going to sort of frame that thought. Some people will be fairly adamant that mindset doesn't matter, we've got what we've given and it's now up to you to just do what you want with it. And they're happy with where they are. If that's their approach, and I think if people think mindset does not matter, then at that point, they don't have it. They don't have that mindset. And before we can develop and improve a mindset, we need to accept the fact that our mindset can improve things, and our mindset and the way we look at things can push us forward in a very positive way. But I really like that quote. So, sort of through my experiences in the Marines, sort of just working in a gym and then through to what I'm doing now and trying to constantly challenge myself, I've come to sort of understand mindset, sort of three pillars and three approaches. And I like to think of them as sort of rules which you can apply to your everyday life, to everything you do, to your personal relationships, to your business relationships, and just generally how you conduct yourself. So first of all, I think our values and beliefs are going to underpin everything we do. We need to have a very clear idea of what our values are, what our beliefs are, and why we're doing something. That's really going to help structure everything else. We need to be ruthlessly honest with ourselves about, is what we're doing moving us sort of in line and closer to our values and beliefs, or have we sort of lost our way a little bit? And then we need to be positive towards what we're doing. We need to be positive to hardship and positive to discomfort, because this is essentially what is going to make us grow. You do not adapt unless you're challenged. And I think growing and overcoming is all about adapting, being the first to sort of adapt, the first to understand and the first to act. That very first bit, adaptation, is not going to happen if you're not being challenged. So everyone just sort of takes a minute to read that. It's a little bit wordy, that's why I'm not going to read it. This is a quote by Seneca. Anyone got any sort of quick fire thoughts on that as a quote or as a sort of value?
It's almost like it's like looking at yourself in the mirror, isn't it? And being exposed to and taking ownership for who you are as a person. Maybe?
Yeah.
I think it's just starting to reflect. So look at yourself and think where you want to be. Make sure you've got someone else that you aspire to, I suppose.
Yeah. Awesome.
We talked about looking for things for the people.
Yes.
Things that you want to aspire to have, to be in, from a characteristic point of view, is one thing.
Definitely. So I think a big thing with this is, nobody is perfect. Nobody has got it all figured out. Some people are stronger in some areas and some people are stronger in other areas, and we can all learn something from someone else. Whatever that is, and no matter how small that is, everything we approach, every person we encounter, we can really use that as a learning opportunity and aim to take something from it. Now for me, I always think this as having a mentor or a role model, someone that you really look up to, someone someone who you might look up to and go, that person has got it all figured out. I mean, they won't, because no one does. But someone that really fits in and aligns with your values and your beliefs and what you really think, and kind of that ideal image of yourself that you want to be moving yourself towards. We need to create that person in our head. Now, this can be a real person. It could be someone that you really do look up to. It could be your granddad. It could be your mum. It could be anyone. It could also just be a completely fictional character from TV. You're like, you know what, that guy is a badass. I want to be him. That's what I want to be. Or it could be a completely fictional character that you create in your head, and you create like a Wonder Woman in your head. You're like, this woman right here, like, wow, that is the epitome of what I want to achieve. And we need to create this vision in our head. It needs to be a very, very strong vision, and really needs to be relatable. So you need to think about this person, like what they do, what they look like, what do they sound like, if they were presented with a situation where you would struggle and you would find challenging, what would this person do? And then we can use that to start sort of guiding our approach. And when you find yourself in this really awkward position which you are finding really infuriating and not quite sure what to do, you can pull up this role model in your head essentially. And you ask yourself, like, what is this person? What would they do in this situation? Would they throw their toys out the pram? Or would they approach it in a much calmer, measured way? We can then tie this in with our why and why we're doing something, and I'm sure this is something that everyone has heard before when you're looking at goal setting and when you're running through a process and trying to decide where you want to be, is establishing your why. Like, why are we doing it? Unless it is really, really strong, when things get tough, then you are going to lose a little bit of traction because you're not really connected with your motivator. And this is also quite easy to lose track of, I think, your why. So, for me, when I set up Commando Conditioned Fitness, my why was because I wanted to be able to spend more time at home to be a better dad. That was my driver. I did not want to be in the gym at 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. training clients and not be able to do the nursery run, and then out in the evening again and miss bedtime. That's just not what I wanted to achieve. So my why was essentially to be able to be at home, be more present, to be a better dad, and be a better role model. As the business developed and as I got busier, I found myself doing exactly those things that I didn't want to be doing, albeit not the gym, but I'll be shut in the study because there was a sales tool that I had to take, and I had to do it. And I kind of lost almost that North Star, that kind of my guiding principles, my why of sort of why I'm doing it. So, I mean, let's just do a really quick fire round if everyone's happy to do it. Why do people do what they do? Why do you run a business, or why do you do the job that you do? Why is that important to you? So open the floor. It's quite a hard question, to be honest, when you really start thinking about it. It might seem quite easy on the face of it. It does need some thought. But anyone got any?
I enjoy what I do.
Sorry?
I enjoy what I do.
You enjoy what you do?
Yeah.
Awesome. Brilliant. Why's that?
Because I spend a lot of time outside in the fresh air.
Cool.
And that I'm always questioning myself physically and also mentally with
Nice.
things as well. And that I think as well that you said about hardship comes in different ways.
Yes.
So I'm quite often drilling holes and physically working hard, and I was thinking, and I was quite relating with that, thinking actually sometimes I come home and I'm dirty, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I don't like heights, I don't like being dirty, I don't like the dark, I don't like confined spaces, but it's things that I do on a daily basis. But in the grand scheme of things, I love what I do.
Cool. So you love what you do, is you get to spend time outside, because you get to sort of experience that sort of hardship and push yourself. And why do you like that?
It challenges me.
And,
And also along the way, I've met some really nice people.
cool, awesome.
And I've got some great customers that I do work for. And that my business is security systems.
Yeah.
So, and then we've got people that we've caught where people have gone, you know, that's the not so nice side of things, of where people are actually come to prison because of things that where we caught with things and stuff. But actually, it's done its job.
Yeah, yeah. And what sort of, why do you like that challenge?
It's getting more difficult, isn't it now?
Yeah. Yeah. So generally we can normally go with sort of 5 whys.
Yeah.
And if you ask that question 5 times, you often get to the real crux of why you do it and why you enjoy it and what's important. And then when you get to that last one, it's normally really tricky. But generally that then you know you're sort of there. So a bit of sort of positivity towards hardship. A big thing that we had in the military, a big saying, was no plan survives first contact. And what that says is you can pretty much guarantee, doesn't matter how good your plan is, how well thought out that initial plan A is, right, something will go wrong 100%. And it's just being comfortable with that and saying, you know what, this is probably going to go wrong. So in the military, a lot of the time when we do a set of orders and our planning, it just goes into a lot of detail on various bits and bobs. And it's okay, if when I'm walking from here to there, if this happens from over there, I do this. If this happens from over there, I do this. And it becomes very adaptable. We always have something to fall back on in terms of the standard sort of operating procedure, but it is very flexible. And that kind of, obviously it's been here, that ability to be able to embrace discomfort and realise that a bit of discomfort is good, a bit of discomfort is not a bad thing, that is what we need to be able to adapt. Embrace failure. Like, I honestly really do believe that if you are not failing at something, then you're not trying hard enough, because you have not reached your peak. I can't, the amount of things that I've tried to set up in my business that just did not work, and they just fell completely flat. Just talking about, I expect a lot of people here on socials, be writing a post and I'll be like, oh, this is so good. I've got the best picture, best image going, best caption going. I think this is going to go to an absolute storming brilliant. I hit the post and it's just literally like tumbleweed, like absolutely nothing. And I just spent 4 hours planning what I thought was the best bit of copy I've ever written, ever. And nothing. Does that mean that it was actually a complete failure? Well, no, because I learned from that. I took a lot from it and I kind of adapt and evolve with that. We come on to a bit more of that later. Believe in priming yourself in some way or another. So Tom, we did it this morning, and we just went down to the river. We had a really quick dip in the river, 5 minutes, and we did a short bit of fizz, like 15 minutes, quick little circuit. Priming yourself can work in sort of, any way. It needs to be a way that works with you. It doesn't need to be going jumping in the sea or going for a swim. It can be taking 5 minutes to just enjoy a nice coffee in the morning and just get your mindset in the right place and understand what you're achieving. To get putting yourself in a positive frame of mind to start with. And then we sort of touched on this, that physical hardship is, in my opinion, the best way to be able to get sort of comfortable with being uncomfortable and to begin to enjoy a level of discomfort. There's a really interesting study, can't read the name, the guys did it off the top of my head, but people who engage in hard interval training, so working really, really hard for a very short period of time, and it's, you feel absolutely knackered when you're doing it, have a lower perception of pain than people who don't do it. That doesn't mean to say that they endure the pain better and they can just grit it out and they can just, put the blinkers on and ignore it. They actually physically feel that pain less. Now, obviously, we're talking here in a very sort of physical manner, but it does translate over to the sort of mindset forces as well. So, if you get used to being in that uncomfortable position, one, you do get better at dealing with it, but also it becomes less uncomfortable. And we can see that with the sort of pain response. So, we can touch back on that being the first to understand, the first to adapt, the first to succeed. And the reason I've shared this picture, so I was planning on doing a 50-mile ultramarathon across the North Downs Way. And I'd done ultramarathon sort of off the cuff about 6 months before. And I ended up doing pretty well. And I thought, actually I'm pretty good at this, so I'll train for my next one. And I'm going to train for it, and I'm going to enter it, and I'm going to smash it. That training just never happened. For various reasons that were kind of outside of my control. I could have just got sort of torn up about that, got a bit angry, gone, well, I've been wanting to train for this, I wanted to win, and now I can't. But I didn't. I just adapted and changed my goals slightly. So I said, well, okay, all right, this isn't going to be the furthest one I've done. I'm probably not going to win it. I'll tell you what I'll do to kind of just prove a point that people can do what they want and that people are sort of adaptable. I thought I'll run it in a pair of flip-flops. And I think this was about the 30-mile mark. I'm smiling from the outside because there was a camera there. I was absolutely in brand order on the inside. But what did I do there? I failed in my training because I had not trained in the way that I said I was going to. So I pushed myself to that limit of what I thought I was able to achieve, and I then learned from that. I realised that no plan is going to survive first contact because something's always going to go wrong. And then I thought, you know what? Let's learn from this, let's understand, let's adapt, and then let's succeed in a different way, in a way that was personal to me. And what I did was, I ran 50 miles in a pair of running sandals that everyone else on that start line said I was an idiot, and maybe you agree with them. But to me, that was a huge sort of success and massive achievement, because I knocked out 50 miles in sandals, and no one else did that. So everyone else who was going, you're a fool, you're not going to do that. Well, maybe, but you couldn't do it, mate. So here I am at the finish. So that's that kind of positivity towards hardship. You think about how we sort of frame things. The other thing we come on to is this kind of idea of just being ruthlessly honest with the processes and the systems that we're using those. And I really like this quote. So time is the most valuable asset that a person can have. 100%. 100%. And does everyone in here think that they are kind of fairly productive with their time, or do you think people end up, using time in ways that they could be improved upon or waste time? We'll just do a quick hands up. So who thinks they're like super efficient, absolutely nailing their sort of time management? Who thinks they could do better at managing their time? Me, 100%. 100%. So I think a time audit is something that can be really good to do. What I do every now and again is I just break my day down into 15-minute chunks. And I will record what I'm doing as I go in those 15 minutes, and then at the end of the day I have a look at it and I'm like, yeah, okay, it took me that long to do that, that's ridiculous, like it should not take that long. And then the next day, I'll look to really plan my day into 15-minute chunks and just sort of write stuff down. In this 15 minutes, I am doing this. 9 times out of 10, if you give yourself 15 minutes to do something, it will be done in 15 minutes. Partly that does depend on you as a person. I know for myself, annoyingly, I work well under pressure. I wish I didn't, but I do. It took me a little while to just sort of embrace that fact and go, you know what, this is actually when I do my best work. So with a uni assignment, I kind of will leave it to the last minute, because that is, well, one, that's how I do work best, and two, I'm normally chasing a lunatic 2-year-old around the house. I'm sure there's people here that can sort of relate to that. So we've got to think about, how are we spending our time? Are we spending our time on a hard task or easy task? Because it's so easy to just default to this easy task, the task that you feel comfortable with doing, the task that you know you like doing. That is what you will go to first when there's stuff that you know you need to get done. You're not going to do that hard task which you don't want to be doing. So, you know, I've got some tasks that I have to do every day. They're really easy. They're super replicable, so anyone can do them. That just isn't a good use of my time or skill set. So I make sure actually that gets left towards the end of the day, and because that's the stuff I like doing, I'm comfortable with doing that. And I make sure I concentrate on the stuff that I don't want to do. You can guarantee if there's something that you do not want to do in your business or personal life, actually that's what you need to do. That's the most important thing. So that can be really valuable. And working for work's sake. And I always remember this just blew my mind. And I think most people probably won't be in a similar mindset to this because we're all sat in this room. But I remember I was on a placement review and I was working under an assistant at the time. And she was like, right, that's all my work done for the day. And I was like, oh, right, cool, we off then. She goes, no, I'm working till 2 o'clock. I was like, okay, well, I thought your work's done for the day. She was like, yeah, no, it is. Okay. What do we do? Should we go? No, I've got to stay here till 2. That's just, like to me, that is insanity. And she did literally just sort of sit there twiddling her thumbs for 2 hours, doing nothing, because she had to be working. So I think this kind of ties into, you know, the important tasks that have to be done. Are you doing work just for work's sake, just to be busy? I've been massively guilty of that at the time. Sometimes if you just stop doing something, right, nothing bad happens. And I think if we actually really look at that and really follow it through to the logical sort of conclusion of what happens a lot of the time, when you feel like there's a job that I absolutely have to do and I'm going to spend 6 hours stressing and ruining myself over it and working late into the evening and missing that nursery drop off or pick up. If you actually really ruthlessly, honestly follow through, what happens if you don't do that? Probably nothing. Granted, there are some things which have to be done, but a lot of the time we place importance on ourselves and think we're more important than we are, and that might sound a little bit pessimistic, but other people care more about themselves a lot of the time, and that is human nature. A lot of the time people aren't worried about what you're doing. We can look at that in the whole sort of, you know, people can be self-conscious about going into a gym, for example, because they think everyone's looking at them. But chances are, 90% of people are all thinking exactly the same as you, feeling self-conscious that they're going to the gym because they're thinking everyone's looking at them. Like I said, it's just really human nature. If we just go back in time, you know, we used to think the Earth was the centre of the universe, because that's where we tend to put ourselves. Everyone tends to put themselves at the centre of their own importance. So sometimes just park something and move on. You know what? Follow it through. Probably nothing And this is a really, really important point, I think, sort of reflecting, debriefing, and then moving forwards. So, when I was in the military, the most kind of elite units and the best units that I worked with were absolute savages when it came to having a debrief about what didn't go well, but also about what went well. And say if an action took an hour, the debrief would probably be 2 to 3 hours. Really going into detail on everything. What could have been done better? If I went this way instead of this way, what would have happened? But also what went well, what worked really well, and how can I keep building on and improving what went well. There's a really good example of the study looking at kind of that sort of positivity and reinforcing good things. There was a couple of rugby teams, both doing quite well. Half time, came off in the changing rooms, coach did the debrief. One of the teams only received positive feedback. Only positive. Everything that they did badly just got ignored. So maybe they could have done a line out better by doing this. That got ignored. But maybe they hit some really good tackles. All the feedback was, those tackles were amazing, keep that up, keep doing that. The other group was, yeah, they still had positive feedback, but they also had negative feedback about what they needed to, that was very good. The team that then came out and did better was the team that only had the positive input. I think that's really interesting. If something's gone wrong, generally you know it's gone wrong. You know when something didn't go how you wanted to do. You know when you made a mistake. Often, the last thing you want to happen there is for someone to go, hey, why did you do it like that? You could have done that loads better. You're like, mate, yeah, I know. I know I got that wrong. We just need to focus on the positives to build people up.